What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another update of my Canadian dividend investing portfolio series here on YouTube. So, if you're new to the channel, what I'm doing is I'm documenting my journey as a Canadian dividend investor. I started back in September 2020, and I've been going for 3 years now, something like that. And I've been showing all the dividends that I've been receiving, breaking down my account portfolio for you, and talking about what's going on for each individual position and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe, and if you're a subscriber, welcome back. So we're just going to run through what's going on here. My total account balance is sitting around $76,000. I had $781 in cash. I actually added some more cash to the account. I'm going to walk through everything that I did today and update all of the numbers so you can see what it's like to use the spreadsheet as well, which, by the way, I made the spreadsheet, and there's a link in the description below if you'd like to try it out after you kind of watch these videos and see what it's like to track your dividends with a spreadsheet. The spreadsheet works really well with Canadian markets and a lot of US markets as well, and I'm always available to help people out if there's any issues. There's a welcome tab here where my email is, so if you have any issues, just pop in there and shoot me an email, and I'll eventually get back to you and sort those out. So anyways, back to my account. Since I started, I've received $7,800 in dividends. That's basically all of these monthly totals added up. I received a few more in the last 2 days or so, which I'm going to add in, and this number will be reflected, but we'll get to that in a second. But overall, the total account is down $6,000. So that's because although I've put in $82,000, I've received $7,800 on top of that, but then the value of some of the stocks has gone down since I bought them, which should come as no surprise to most Canadian investors right now that a lot of stocks are down, which is why we see a whole lot of red in here. But that's the purpose of this channel, is I'm documenting this as I go for good or bad times. Anyhow, as most of the stocks I hold are dividend paying stocks, the average yield of my portfolio is 5.05%, which is awesome. That's about $3,800 per year in passive income going forwards. And this number continues to grow as I buy more and more dividend stocks and reinvest the dividends as we go. So I'll come back to this number at the end of the video, and I'll show you what I bought today. I bought quite several $100s worth of stocks today, and you'll see how much my dividend income increases after I add in these new stocks to my account. So looking at the portfolio, we can see here a little bit of green and a lot of red, as I was saying. A lot of this red is pulling back. It has been worse lately. Actually, if we jump into Wealthsimple and maybe search for all time, we can see here I'm below my net deposits. But if we zoom in a little bit more, maybe the last 3 months isn't a good example, but in the last month, yeah, up 4% in the last month, up 3% in the last week alone. So it kind of shifts, and depending on what time scale you look at it, it's like a little bit up and down here and there. And in the last day, doesn't really want to cooperate with us right now. That's fine, but you get the idea. In the last little while, the value has been coming back up for a lot of people holding Canadian stocks, and that's pretty nice. So anyways, this is back in my portfolio. Yeah, when I was in here, I was just like fishing around looking at what I wanted to buy. There's some crazy movement going on in the portfolio today. Bitfarms was up like 15% or something today, which is absolutely wild. But I've been trying to like little day trades with them in my unregistered account, but just like $100 at a time and just making like $1 here and there. It's kind of fun. But also hopefully this will come back up at some point. But when I was looking at the rest of these guys, Northwest Health was my biggest loser. They are down so far, 449. I think all REITs are sketchy, but I actually happen to own a lot of REITs. If we filter this by sector, which you can totally do up here, we can see in my REITs, yeah, they're all smashed to bits, but I own quite a lot, like hundreds of each of these individual REITs. It's not something that I wish I owned like hundreds more of ATD, but whatever, that's life. But I'm not planning to panic sell these guys. And so I'm basically just going to wait, and I'm kind of waiting till they come back up to 11. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to put in more shares today. So I actually bought quite a few Northwest Health shares. I figure they're so decreased. I put in about $200 into them. If I lose another 200, like such is life. But if it starts going back up at some point, then it's going to be about 50 shares more than I had. And so I'm kind of like weighing my risk and reward here. I think they're totally sketchy. I think all the REITs are pretty much sketchy, but it's just something that I this is my money and this is what I'm doing, and I don't recommend that you copy what I do, because clearly if you copied me, you would be down. So don't do that. Anyhow, I did buy a little bit more of AQN. Similar idea going forwards here. We can actually look at them as well in their Spark line. Let's maybe pop this into AQN if I can find them. They're going to be right here. And you can see they're way down from their all-time high. And actually, let's just jump straight to Yahoo Finance through the sheet. Looking at them on the last couple of days, they're up quite nicely from basically $7 up to almost $8. That's pretty good. Anyways, the point of this was I threw in a bit more into AQN despite them being super down and despite them being one of my worst positions, because I'm not ready to sell them, and I'm again hoping I'm just going to ride that back up at some point in the future. Intergex, Northland Power, dropped a little bit into those guys as well. I think I did drop like 1 or 2 shares into REI. You'll see in a second when we open up Smart Centers as well. I did that too. When I open up Wealthsimple, you'll see which ones I bought in 2 seconds. And then also MRU, let's jump into them through the Sparkline tab as well and come down if I can find them right here. MRU, they're doing super well actually. If you look at their all-time, let's see if I can get a max chart here. They're going up and up and up, but on Yahoo Finance today, I actually saw that they dropped like 6%, almost 7% on the day, and when everything else is shooting up and these guys go down, they usually just go up. And when they do drop off, I try to sneak in a little share here and there, because I have 38 shares, so I think I just added 1. But this is a solid company that I would like to own more of. I just don't really like buying them when they're doing well. So today was the day to throw in just 1 share there. So let's actually take a look in Wealthsimple and jump into the activity tab. I've got it sorted for my tax-free savings account here, which is everything in the spreadsheet. And today, which is November 15th, we're going to see, okay, so I added $200, and then here are the companies that I bought. So MRU bought 1 share at $70. SRU just sprinkled in 2 shares into SRU and REI. NPI 3 shares, Intergex couple shares there, and then these were the bigger purchases of $200 into Northwest Health and 200 into AQN, and I also slipped in a couple to TD, all of them basically in the red except for MRU. So I'm going to take all of this stuff, I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to transfer it into the Google Sheet. You'll kind of see how that all works. And then also I did receive some dividends since I made the last video. So I also received a dividend from MRU for $11.50, and I received a dividend from Granite Real Estate as well. So I'm going to bring all this stuff into the spreadsheet, and I guess I'll start with a deposit withdrawal. I added $200 today, so I do have to record that. The spreadsheet only knows what you tell it, so it only now it's going to know that I deposited the money, and it was November 15th, 2023. And so if you're like trying to like really verify what's going on here, you'll see that the available cash went up. So actually the numbers that I started with at the beginning of the video were a little bit incorrect because I hadn't like fully updated everything, but by the end of the video, everything will be correct in here. Next thing I'll do is I'll probably save those dividends that I received. So right now I've only recorded $54 in dividends for the month, but you saw there was 2 since the last video. So I pop into my dividends tab, which is this master list of all the dividends I've ever received, which already has 650 entries. I did receive that one from MRU, and the other one was from GRT, that's granite.un. This one came through on November 13th. And this one came through on November 14th, 2023. So one at a time, as I receive them, I do pop in and populate these values. So the spreadsheet is up to date, and the MRU was 1150, and this guy was 1040, and those were both in Canadian dollars. It's just a little drop down, pre-populated, and so now we can see that I've actually recorded $76 in dividends for this month, which is accurate. That's all of the dividends I've received so far. Obviously, more will roll in as we go through because we're only halfway through the month. Okay, so now the last thing to do is in the transactions tab. This is my master list of all my transactions. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom here, and I'm going to drop all of my transactions in one at a time, which I wrote down on a piece of paper. And I'm going to make sure that I get the quantity and the unit price correct. Now, if you're using the spreadsheet and you're buying and selling REITs, you're going to see some of these errors in here, and that's because recently Google Finance stopped showing any information for REITs in Canada. I don't know why, but they do. And so in this case, you're going to have to override some of these. And okay, this is the stock currency, actual stock currency. So here it's normally an automatic detection, but here I have to override it with the letters CAD. And I'm going to probably change that to the color blue. And I'm going to even change the cell background to yellow to indicate that this is no longer a stock, a standard formula, because later when I come back, it's really hard to find the customizations that I make, and I really recommend you do the same if you're using this. So anyways, I just have to override these couple currency detection errors, which is just part of using a spreadsheet that heavily depends on data that is pulled in from an external source that sometimes likes to break. But that's it. Now that's all cleaned up. I'm going to double check these totals are what I was expecting, because these are automatically added by the sheet and it's looking good. So we are good to go. The last thing to do then is to pop back into the summary tab and take a look in here at pretty much this cell is what I'm looking for, the annual dividend income. So right now it's sitting at $3,877 per year, and at the beginning of the video it was $3,821. So my dividend income per year just increased by about $51 per year, which is pretty significant. But it's also because I spent quite a few $100s on those stocks. Sorry, these stocks to be particular. A lot of these are yielding pretty high right now, and so that's why this number has increased. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. This has been quite a video. I'm going to cut it off here, but if you're interested in trying out the spreadsheet, like I said, there's a link in the description below. And yeah, give it a go and let me know what you think. And if you're using the spreadsheet, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear how it's going, because I know there are quite a lot of you guys. And otherwise, take care, and I will see you in the next video.